The first style. Now just to note, my first and third style were inspired by hairromance.com, though I did change them a little bit from the original style. Separate the hair in front of your ears out. This could be the fringe for a lot of people, but my hair is really long in this area. Then go ahead and separate out the crown of your hair, and then separate out the front of that section. So kind of the hair between the parting that we did and the apex of the head. And then you're going to take all the hair down to the crown of the head, and you're going to put this into a bun and basically make a bump it out of your own hair. Now you can actually use more hair than I did in here. My hair gets really thin when you put it into buns, and I wanted the buns that I made later in the style to look full, so I kept this one small. But if you want a really big bump, you can make this bun really big and, effectively make your hair into a bump it. So then go ahead and release that top section that we separated and give it a little teasing to kind of net the hair together so that it will go nicely over the little bump it we made. And then smooth the hair back so that it's a nice smooth bump. Now you can see on the left side is how it's supposed to look. I do this without a mirror, so the right side I had to fix a little bit later. It looks a little funny right now. But then just crisscross your pins, and I actually ended up using 3 pins to do this. And I just kind of pushed my hair back up, and that way I got a nice big bump, and then stuck one more bobby pin in it after I had to look everywhere for it apparently. Then go ahead and pick up the hair that's just underneath that. I would say the 2 inches underneath that, and the hair that we just pinned, and twist it all together and turn it into a bun. So just wrap it around and twist, and then pin it into place. Now you can interlock these pins really nicely in here, especially because it's such a small bun, and also pin into those pins that we used to make the bump. That way this is a really, really secure style, like it's not going to go anywhere. So just make sure that you're interlocking your pins as you're doing that. And then take another section, all the hair from the top of your ears up should be incorporated by now, wrap it into a bun and pin it in place. And then the last thing we're going to do is just take all the rest of the hair that's left down at the nape of the neck and put that into a bun. So just twisting it and then wrapping it and putting it into place. And then you can just check for any little flyaways that you might have. You can kind of see I have 1 or 2 that I had to fix. But that's it. It's really nice and quick and simple. And you have this pretty, very retro hairstyle. I like it a lot because it is pretty retro and very feminine. I also threw in a headband for this shot, and I think it looks pretty cool, just to throw that idea out there. Alright, so now is our second hairstyle, and of course I had to do something with braids. You're going to take a diagonal part going from the top right to the bottom left, separate the bottom hair out of the way, and we're going to braid that top section starting on the very far left, and Dutch braiding, incorporating only hair from the top. So basically creating this nice little braid that goes around the occipital bone, and then once you incorporate all the hair from the top, you're just going to braid normally. Now if you need any help on braiding, I will link in the description bar to my braid encyclopedia, which would help you with Dutch braiding in case you don't know what that is or how to do it. Once you finish that braid, just secure it with a band, and then start on the next side. Make sure that you start about the same distance from the front on this braid that you did on the last braid so that you get a nice even style. Now on this one, we are going to still be Dutch braiding, but you're going to bring hair from under instead of hair from on top. Just because your braid is a little bit farther up, and instead of being down, it just makes sense. So just pull the hair from the bottom up and then braid down the rest of the hair normally. Next you're going to pull both of the braids around your head. I like to actually do this one at a time, but I wanted to show you kind of what it would look like from the back. But here it is with me just pulling it from the one side, and you just want to make sure that you don't have any bagging going on right there, so get the braid nice and tight against your head and pin it in place. And then you want to pin it a couple times through the middle of the braid and then at the end of the braid so you get a nice secure hold there. Then bring the second braid up and use that braid to cover the end of the first braid so you don't see it at all, and just pin nicely into that, and then you can tuck the end of the second braid under the first braid and it's hidden. For any flyaways, just stick it through a bobby pin and it will go wherever the bobby pin goes, and then just pin it wherever you want it, and that will hide them very effectively so you don't have any little antennas sticking out of your head while you're wearing this hairstyle. And that's it. I really like it. It's really bohemian. I know milkmaid braids were kind of a couple years ago, but I still really love them, so maybe some of you guys can try it out too. So that is the second hairstyle. And now for the third hairstyle, we have this interesting little bun, which I actually really like. You're going to start with the top center, just to give you a nice reference point to go off of, and then twist this really, really tightly so that the hair kind of starts to twist up on itself. Then wrap it kind of into a bun, but mostly you're just going to bring the hair against the head and let it twist up however it's going to twist up, because when you twist that hair really tight, it makes really funky shapes, which is actually cool for this hairstyle because we can do some really fun stuff with it. And then go ahead and pull one side and go ahead and start twisting that and wrapping that into a bun. And like I said, you just kind of let it twist and make its own shape. And then within those buns, crisscross your pins so that you have a nice secure style. Like this style will not go anywhere. It stays really well all day. So twisting it really tight again, and this is what it looks like real time when you're just letting it kind of roll up on itself. You saw that one kind of just twisted around itself. It made an interesting little shape, and then you just pin it there. Then I took one right between those two sides to kind of finish it off. And now you're going to take another side and then twist that up into place, and then you're going to take another side, twist that up, and then do the center. So I kind of did a triangle on top and a triangle on the bottom, and then just like one or two in the middle. And you can make this into whatever shape you want, or even add some volume in the front, which would actually be a really good look for this if you wanted to do that. But this is really fun, especially if you're a dancer. This is a great little way to get your hair up and look different.